Well, they got Grand Bahama Ministry. That's another form of government. Then you got the national government. Then you got the parliamentarians. You got the other people working in there. So you got a whole army of people working for the government of the Bahamas in these different areas. But I want to talk about Grand Bahama today because Bahamians, I am understanding that there are some unusual things happening. Of course, people are still talking about the hotel. I understand they're breaking it down. The government reportedly sold the hotel. We don't know how much money they got for it, but a lot of money was spent to maintain it. How are we going to recoup that? Will we be able to recoup it? You know, sometimes when people buy things, they have different ulterior motives for doing what they want to do. Now the man is saying the airport, they need the airport to be fixed. The airport has to be in operation for the hotel and the airport to be on one accord. So we're hearing all kinds of different stories. Let me just say this to you, Bahamians. We've been through this crap before. The point is you're going to have a lot of announcement being made. It has already started, Bahamians, even here on the island of New Providence. And you have to ask yourself, can the government of the Bahamas fulfill all of these things that they are announcing in the next 12 to 18 months? Because so many things have been announced. Don't get all excited about when people make an announcement about something. They announce it the day, then it dies tomorrow. Or that very same day. All that dancing and singing and partying they had about the sale of the Lucaya. Didn't they have that? Even the Grand Bahama Port Authority was talking nice about the government of the Bahamas. Mr. Producer, if you could find some of those tapes, I'll appreciate that because I want to remind the people of Grand Bahama and the people in the Bahamas in general, you have to check back because they believe you got short memories. You don't remember nothing. You don't remember what happened yesterday this time, much less 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. We have to be more observant when we hear our leaders speaking to us. We don't pay much attention. And they're allowed to get away with a lot of crap. You see now where they're talking about immigration and talking about the shanty towns. I don't know why we're having such a difficulty getting these shanty towns down. I can't put up a little shed or a little shack without going through the right procedures. But these people are building towns. And then you're talking about giving them notice, 30 days notice. And they know what they're doing is illegal. Why do you have to give them notice? You don't give me no notice. You just come and say you got to take it down. No notice. So what are we doing? Do we have one set of law for Bahamians and another set for these other people who want to do and act as they please, invading this country? Where is the mass deportation? There is none, Bahamians, not one single mass deportation. These aliens are still here. But the man say you only got 50 people in the detention center. Yeah, any crap like that? They're not going after them, Bahamians. You see them all over the place. In the area where I live, in Centerville, all kinds of strangers, foreigners, aliens, outsiders. And they're through the Bahama Islands. Bahamians say they can't even get jobs now. Even in the gas station, the fellow talking one funny language. You try to communicate with him. He can't communicate with you. Don't speak a word of English. Then you have a crew that's coming in here with passports in their hand. Some tell me some work permits. Can't speak a lick of English, but they got passport. Where they get the passport from? Where they get the work permit from? The man say there is no crisis in immigration. The prime minister. Someone told me he changed his tongue on that one. I'm not sure about that, but I was informed about that yesterday. But he said there's no crisis. Is there a crisis in housing? Where are these people living anyhow? Who are supposed to be working here? Because the man say there's a building boom. So the man tell me, do you see it, Bahamians? Bahamians, call into the show and tell me if you see it. Where's this building boom? They need construction workers. We don't have enough Bahamians qualified to do the construction work. Where is it happening? I don't know of any major activities occurring on the island of New Providence. I don't know. I can't specifically speak about the Family Islands. And I keep telling Family Island people, you need to call into the show. You keep things too quiet. Let us know what's happening in Andros. Andros is a big island. People could hide in different parts of that island. You don't even know they're there. You got Eleuthera. Grand Bahama has this problem. Grand Bahama, I need to hear from you today. What's happening in Grand Bahama? Since that big party you all had down there 76 days ago, what happened? Because the man say the airport has to be dealt with, along with the hotel. They're knocking down the hotel. I thought they're supposed to. We spent all that money trying to preserve that place. Now they're knocking it down. Famous, does this make any sense to you? I don't see if it makes any sense. So, Grandmam, I want to hear from you today. I want to hear from those Family Island people as well. Andros, Abaco, and other places throughout the country. Because Bahamians, we need to connect. We got all this sophisticated technology, and we are just so distant from each other. We have to stop that foolishness. This is Professor Sidney McGowan of Walter Thompson. I do apologize again for the delay of the show. I was tied up trying to get here. Roads flooded with traffic. Police officer, no police officer around to direct the traffic. This is Professor Sidney McGowan of Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. I'm waiting for your call, because I got some things I want to outline to you today. This is Professor Sidney McGowan of Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
Radio99.5FM.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM, Bahamians. We have to get very serious. You know, this is the election season, you know. You're going to hear a whole lot of things. You're going to see some unusual things. You're going to see some strange bedfellows. I mean, people jumping in bed. All kind of funny things happening. Do you see how many sexual crimes are being committed in this place? Every time you turn around, east, west, north, and south, some sexual perversion is being done in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. How we get like that? In a Christian nation like the Bahamas, where God is to be revered and accepted. What happened to us? How we get like that? Every house has a Holy Bible. And people go to church on Saturday. They go to church on Sunday. What has happened to us, Bahamians? Even those who were trusted, the Minister of Education talked about trusted individuals who are now serving behind bars, Fox Hill Prison. No, they call it the corrections place now, formerly Fox Hill Prison, where they belong, according to the minister. Mr. Producer, you might want to get that tape again about the Minister of Education. She made some very good remarks on that. I think people ought to be punished. And I think the courts have to be very, very harsh and stop this running concurrently, because that doesn't give justice to the people. You go out there and commit all these crimes, you get 4 years and you do 10 different things and talking about everything running concurrently. What kind of crap is that? They should run consecutively, 50 years for each one. Consecutively, lost his backside in jail. And the point is, he becomes a burden on the state. That's what happens, Bahamians. We've got to find effective ways of dealing with these criminal-minded people. They think they can get a little slap on the wrist and they go back out there doing foolishness and nonsense. You know how many people are suffering? You know how many people have lived and died at the hands of these criminals? How many more we have to lose? When they talk about the decrease, 20 happened last June. 15 happened this June. 20 plus 15 is 35, so they call that a decrease. 5 people in that span of time, when you look at the 2 months. A distance of 5. That's supposed to be progress. 1 murder is too many. Our people are becoming cheap. When you talk about the lives of people in that kind of fashion, you could tell them people who had those relatives murdered, that those figures mean anything to them. You think about that, Bahamians. You were hit with murder, violent sexual offenses against your mother, against your auntie, against your sister, against your grandmother, and all you get is a couple of years. Huh? And he doesn't get any severe punishment, you know. Then he comes out and do the same crap again until somebody decides to take him out. Because, Bahamians, that's what's going to lead to. If we do not get justice in the court, someone will set up their own court and say, I can dispense justice. That is what happens when law and order is broken down in a nation. Now, you know we don't want that to happen here, right? Like Sudan. See how broke up that place is? Sudan may never, ever get back on its feet. Every time you hear about them, they're still fighting. 2 fellas still fighting. And people are dying, Bahamians. Hundreds of thousands have been displaced. Look at Gaza Strip. People trying to get food. And people are dying trying to get a plate of food. Hear any nonsense like this? A plate of food, Bahamians. You got food here to throw away. We have to learn to be grateful for what God has blessed us with, because if we don't repent, we're going to pay the price for that. And it's going to be far worse than what's happening in the Gaza Strip, far worse what is happening in Sudan. Because we would have known better. We have a peaceful community compared to a lot of other nations around the world. And we have to try and bring this crap under control while we have the opportunity to do so. We must not take this thing lightly. We've got to put pressure on the government, you know. I hear them talking about the parents of these wayward sons and daughters. Yes. Who do you appeal to when the parents fail? They tell you don't take matters into your own hand. Who the heck are you supposed to appeal to? When the judiciary is weak, giving these light, flimsy sentences for serious, violent crime. I'm talking about running concurrently. Give me a break, man. And when people look at that, they say, well, what's going on here? Then you got people toting all kind of guns, high-powered weapons, getting a very light sentence. Do you understand what I'm saying, Damien? Not one or two, 20, 30 or more weapons. Very dangerous weapons. And they're getting a light sentence. Huh? What kind of crap is that? When you should be lost in jail and throw away the key. Let him rot in there. I think we have a caller on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, good afternoon, Professor.
Hey, what you say, man?
And good afternoon, Bahamas. Professor, man, I doing some little research, man. I learning how, like how you was talking about how people just take over your land and just put loans, stress on the land. Doing some research now. I already done do it, but I going over it. And Professor, guess what? They got to go back over this land thing up.
Yes.
And I see them doing another thing. So they doing the salary thing up. I don't like that.
What's that? What's that second one? Hold on, slow down. What the second one was? You like said about the land.
Doing this salary thing, this different thing up. The search I doing, I don't like that. Just let me tell you what they did. It's the country we always talk about. They say they go on in there, keep on buying land, get your spirit up, right? Then you buy the treasury, and you buy the treasury, and you put it in the Constitution. You how to run it. I think who's do that? We got to be careful. The National Intelligence Branch, you all got to be careful who's selling land. We can't be selling our land. Professor, I doing research. I can't say no more. But Professor, it sounds so crazy. How you could buy the Auto Nation Treasury and then you switch it and put it in a Constitution. You run how things go, how the money go.
Yeah.
I say, what? I never heard Professor this real, you know.
Yes, sir.
National Intelligence Branch got to watch out how we selling these land. The land supposed to be for Bohemian, and anyone get it, you must lease it. Yes, I can tell you some more on that later. I just looking at it.
Yes.
You buy the people's treasury and put it in the Constitution. How you deliver the money. Now you know that people can stop.
Yes, sir.
Say, well, Michael, I doing some research. That's it. That's all I got for today.
Well, let us know what the end result is of that research.
Yeah, but I won't tell you, but I can't. I don't tell you, but I won't tell you. They go, all right, Professor.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm happy that he is doing his research, because Bahamians, some strange things are happening in this country, which are not in the best interest of the Bahamian people. That's point number one. Point number two, the police are overwhelmed and investigating. Every time you look around, they got to be investigating something. What kind of protection could they give you? We have only a limited number of police officers, a limited number of officers to do research or to do investigations. So what happens in the meantime? They don't get around to it, or they run into a roadblock. We don't want them to accuse anybody incorrectly. But the police are overwhelmed with doing the investigations into these criminal offenses. Our people need to learn how to behave, because everybody expects the police force to deal with their matter, and I don't blame them for that. But how many of us are trying to help steer some of these wayward people, wayward children, wayward nieces, wayward nephews, and even some wayward parents to quit doing the crap they're doing today. And it will help the police force. They won't have to be worrying about these other things, because every time something comes up, they got to investigate it. And when they can get around to investigating it, they have too many things. In fact, there were 6 people standing in the road several years ago. The police told us they were going to do investigations. Do you know we haven't gotten the word on those 6 people? They just disappeared. I blinked my eye and they were gone. I said, where did they go? Right in broad daylight, Bahamians. We don't know yet what happened to them. But the police say they investigate. Maybe they run into a roadblock. And we had several commissioners that came on the scene who told us the same thing. They are going to investigate. Maybe they ain't finished investigating. So see how long these things take. I'm not saying they must accuse anyone incorrectly. But Bahamians' investigations take time, particularly when people just disappear, like smoke. 1 minute they're there, next minute they're gone. Where did they go? And since that incident occurred, some other people have disappeared. We don't know where they are. They have not been seen, Bahamians. Not only on New Providence, but in the Family Islands. People just go missing. So what's going on? That's the crime element now. Now you notice this high rate of sexual offenses every time you turn around. Even some trusted personalities who are supposed to be in part of the law enforcement don't know how to keep their clothes on. Huh? What's wrong with them? And they're supposed to be trained. They're carnal-minded human beings just like everybody else. They just don't have no character. That's the problem, Bahamians. They got carnal nature just like the people they're supposed to be going after. So what do you expect? Well, they say they trained them, and they're supposed to be following the law. But not everybody does follow the law. And then the man can say, don't judge that particular organization by what this particular personality or some other personalities do. What the heck are you supposed to do? Just lay down and say it ain't happened? Is that what you're supposed to do? This causes people not to trust in persons who are supposed to be trustworthy. Because the Minister of Education say about people who are trustworthy, proven to be not trustworthy. So what happened to them? So we supposed to believe. You can't believe the granddaddy who is molesting his grandchildren? Come on, Bahamians. Where the heck did this come from? I know nothing like that when I was growing up as a child. Wherever mommy sent you or daddy sent you, that's where you go. And you couldn't say anything against an elder, an aunt, a police officer. I won't talk about no principal. That's how, but they called them headmasters back then. That was completely out of line. My father would tell me, if you were not there, your name would not be called. That's all he can tell me. And he stopped right there because he ain't listening to me. And the same thing with my mother. So when people come to the house, you go outside, you play. So what has happened now? Even in the church, you mean that you got people in the church molesting the children? What kind of crap is this? People in the church keeping sweetheart? Who does go to church on Saturday and Sunday? Give me a break, man. Why is the country falling apart like this when it comes to sexual offense? In fact, these kind of crimes are not even supposed to be among the people of God. It is not even supposed to be mentioned. But that doesn't seem to be the case. And you see a dynasty with families to the point where the granddaughter is now the new bishop of the church. Yeah, any crap like that? A family dynasty. What happened to the sons? I know God talked about the sons of Levi. You say nothing about no daughters of Levi. And when Jesus picked people to go out and preach, 12, all men. Then what did he do after that? He picked 72 more. And they were all what? Men. Not a single female was there. Now you ask Christ about that. Don't ask me. I just know that's what the man did. And you ain't had no female bishop, no female pastor, none of that. It's not there. But you have all kind of bishops and apostles. But this is the kind of thing we have today. You would have thought with all these bishops, all these apostles, all these evangelists, and then the suicide thing. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this suicide crap that's going on in this country. Because at one point in the past, and I'm still not even sure whether this is true or not, who are these who are committing suicide? Are they genuine Bahamians? Because I never heard them talk about the nationality of these people. Bahamians who go to church on Saturday and Sunday don't commit suicide. They're not going to kill themselves. It doesn't make any sense. Yes, I know some people are stressed out, and it's contrary to the Constitution to be stressed out. No man, woman, or child shall ever have their life frustrated by deprivation. That's unconstitutional, Bahamian. You're not supposed to have 1 second of frustration, stress. It's unconstitutional. How much stress are you having today? Trying to make ends meet, trying to put food on the table, trying to pay the rent, and dealing with other issues in your country. So Grand Bahama, I want to hear from you. You need to tell me what's going on in Grand Bahama. And you people in the Family Islands and Andros and Cat Island. They say they have some building projects going on out there. And every time I listen, I keep hearing about roadway. They're fixing one road. And if they're like these roads over here on New Providence, you don't see no proper markings on them. And I think the roads in the Family Islands are far worse than what they are here. And the cost is very expensive. More than $1 million for a mile of road. Bahamians, we have to see what is happening to us. Every time you listen, it's always some infrastructure, as it is called, putting down one pipe, putting down some roads, digging some holes, everything going for infrastructure. What about the quality of life for the Bahamian people? What about them? My special guest is here. Sometimes I keep telling him I have to talk till Christ come back, so I got to stop. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson. The lines are open 3260271, 3260272, Brother Cartwright, welcome to Global Radio 99.5. Express yourself.
Good afternoon, Professor. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
Good afternoon to our great producer and to the Global 99.5 FM audience globally and locally. You know, Professor, it's amazing with all the things going on in this country. We are now having the major issue comes right back with immigration.
Yes.
We heard the Prime Minister in a setting saying there is no immigration problem. We heard the former Minister of Immigration now in Housing said there is no major immigration problem.
Yeah.
But now you see in the headlines the Prime Minister saying he hasn't seen the Immigration Commission report.
Say it again. You didn't hear?
He hasn't seen the Immigration Commission report. So if there's no problem, why would we have an immigration commission?
When was this commission set up?
I don't know, but apparently that he had it set up, and apparently they have, according to the articles, the commission has completed, but
Okay.
it hasn't gone across his desks yet.
But I thought even the first one to see it.
I figured that too. I
Yeah.
figured that something like immigration
Yes,
would take a major priority,
of course.
but like a lot of things, it takes the delay. It's like yesterday I told a member of parliament, I said, this new biometric system you all are rushing to do. I said, mind you, you have to be very careful. And he said, why? I said, because here's the thing. The parliamentary registrar is just going to go to the passport office and take those names that has passports and just transfer it to the parliamentary registrar. But I said, where's the checks and balance? How do you know those places individuals are truly Bahamians?
Yes, that's a good question.
I said, when I went in to take my first voter's card, I had to take proof.
Yes,
I said, now because you just have a passport, I said, it isn't like yesteryear. Everyone now seems to have a Bahamian passport.
everyone.
So how do
yes.
we know? I said, have you ever been to the immigration department and find out if all individuals who say they renounce brought in the proper documents that you can say, and as a member of parliament, you should have the authority or access to look at these documents to prove that, yes, these individuals, because the new director of immigration said that he is willing to work with the Bahamian public. So I said,
He is?
I said, okay, I like that.
Well, we're going to test him on that one.
I told the member, I said, you need to test because only
No, he
immigration.
can get tested on that one.
Yeah, only immigration would know because I said anyone can declare that they give up their status.
Yes.
But I said, but here is the key factor that no one pays attention to. If I am a Jamaican and I said I just give up go to the embassy and say I renounce, as they say, declare that I don't want to be a Jamaican. I said, here's the one big factor. That individual still has his Jamaican passport. So he said, can't we take it and stamp it? And I said, no, you can't. That is not the property of the Bahamas government. The passport of any country is the property of that government, of that country. So here it is, you have an individual with a Jamaican passport or a Haitian passport or a Chinese passport. Because you cannot take that from them, but you're giving them a document that belongs to the Bahamas government,
Yeah.
to say the state that they're a citizen, you now is practicing dual citizenship.
That's right.
And I say, in the essence of that, you're discriminating against Bahamians.
Yes, you are.
So he said, yeah. I said, yes. I said, you need to start before you all go and implement this you have to make sure that these people, because I said, the parliamentary registrar will not be going to do background checks on these people because they're going to the passport office. And the reason why there are only two areas in this country now using biometrics, immigration and the passport.
Yes.
So the parliamentary will be now the third. So if they go to the passport office and request, or if they ask person, can we get your information instead of having you come in, we would just get it from the passport office, just transfer it into our records. I said, you're walking down a slippery slope.
That's a big slippery
Because
slope.
now,
yes.
once that person is in the registry, how do you going to prove that they're not a citizen? And then what's going to happen now is that if you prove they're not a citizen, then now you're going to now look at your passport department. Then your passport department is going to look at your immigration department. I said, while it is now warm, you can deal with these problems now, and you can deal with the biometrics later on. I said, because
That's right.
it's too close for an election.
Too close, yes.
And for you not to have all the problems solved, it's going to be a problem. I said, you need to seriously, I said, I don't know if you all know, but I said, there are many people walking around this town with documents,
Yes, they are.
and we don't know how to get it. It's alleged that these people are paying Bahamians.
That's what is alleged, yes.
I said, we have to now you guys as Parliament has to now do a serious dive in to the records and reports of those two departments.
Yes.
Clean that up, and then you could come back and introduce the biometrics. I said, it shouldn't take you that long. But if you take that road, it would be much easier and it would be much better than for you to rush a new system in. Because I said, in this country, we've had elections over 50 plus years.
Yes.
And it's very rare we have more than 100 election fraud.
Yeah.
So it tells me that the system has been working quite perfectly
Yes.
with little bumps. I said, it's unlike other countries where they take 2-3 days to announce the results.
The result.
We just ask 2 days max,
2 days maximum.
and
Yeah.
it goes to recount. And I say it's less than a week,
Less than a week. Yeah.
and then we know who's the government, and we move on.
We move on.
I said, so why are you changing something? Because you say you're trying to come on board with what the international body is asking.
I have a problem with that.
I said, I believe you all have to look at things, what is good for the Bahamian people, and ask the Bahamian people if they want to change. Not you telling me, some outside force telling you we need to change.
Brother Cartwright, I agree with you. I'm going to comment on that when we get back. The lines are open 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-0271. Brother Cartwright is absolutely correct. Bahamians, the government of the Bahamas, they always like to listen to strangers, foreigners, aliens, and outsiders talk about what's good, what's happening in Jamaica, what's happening in Turks Island, what's happening this place, that place. No one comes and asks us whether we agree or disagree. That's the mistake the government has been making for 52 flipping years. And it annoys me. Babies, we got to stop this foolishness, you know. Because they take us for pawns, Bahamians. They have no respect for the voters of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. So we're going to teach them a vital lesson that they'll never, ever forget. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. The aim is, you see why I ask you to support me? You just forget too quickly. When people tell you things, and then they come back later on because they think your memory's so short, you don't remember nothing. The Bahamians do not let that happen this time. We have too many fraudsters, too many people telling and giving out information. I think Mr. Producer has that tape ready. Mr. Producer?
It's more than a transaction. This is a resurrection. This is a revival. This is a return to the promise of Freeport and Grand Bahama. This hotel property once served as an economic beacon, a hub of jobs, culture, and community before the cruel winds of Hurricane Matthew brought it to a standstill in 2016. But hear me now. What was broken is being rebuilt. What was closed is being reopened. What was lost is being redeemed. This is not just a milestone. It was a marathon. And now we declare that the race was not in vain. As my friend Minister Ginger Moxie would say, today is part of a new day.
I'm going to let Brother Cartwright comment on this, because I got to deal with this fella. 76 days later, Grand Bahama, you need to pay attention to what these people are telling you, because I can keep these tapes, you know. Go ahead, Brother Cartwright.
It's amazing. The gentleman from the chamber is very excited 76 days ago about the Grand Lucaya. And fast forward, the Grand Lucaya is being prepared to be knocked down. So how is it going to be open if it's getting ready to be knocked down? Where are those persons who were working their jobs are? Secondly, in I think the Day's Guardian, the so-called owners of the property is asking questions to the authorities about the airlift. When is the airport going to be up and running? Because they said it's dire for the hotel, for them to go and not only knock down, but to rebuild, and there's no airport.
Yes.
So now it looks like they're looking to wait and see if the airport will be up and running, so they can say, you know what, yes, they're doing the work, we could start knocking and rebuilding. But I don't think no investor willing to go put his neck on the line to go and knock down and rebuild a hotel and there's no airlift.
No airlift, yes.
Because you cannot have a hotel without airlift. Because if you notice in this country now, we've been having more people come here by boat.
Yes.
But we're not having them spend as much. Our real money makers who come and spend are those who fly in.
Fly in, that's correct.
And you find overall that flying in, you have a lot of people who basically tell you that airlift is on a decline.
Yes, it is.
And so if you don't have airlift, and not only into the Bahamas, but even throughout the Bahamas.
Throughout the Bahamas,
because the airports are not properly built or maintained. So people ain't traveling as much by air. So now the government has to look at it in a serious manner to upgrade all airports. Because without the airlift, most islands you see now are suffering a dire need for business. And so I don't know where the Mr. Rollins from the chamber is now. I ain't hearing him bragging about a new day.
No.
Or excited. Because right now the owners of the new hotel is getting ready to knock it down. And they're also worried about airlift. And if a man can't see how he can fill his hotel, he is not going to be in a rush to go build.
Well, this crew ain't certainly in no rush to do nothing. They're now questioning about the airport in Grand Bahama. Bahamians, see, I keep saying to you, you have to watch what the government is doing, watch what these so-called investors are doing. That big time celebration 76 days ago, big fanfare in Grand Bahama, ministers of government there, big time party at the expense of the Bahamian people because they ain't spend their personal money. This is the Bahamian people's money that was spent on a so-called sale. And the man told you, the one purporting to be the deputy prime minister, there's no such thing as no deputy prime minister. But you let him get away with this crap, man. And he's supposed to be Minister of Tourism and Aviation. He made so many false predictions and still continue to do today. He told us he's supposed to tell us when the money is in the bank. Did he come back and tell you?
Professor, we got a text from someone in Grand Bahama. They said, good day to Sidney and Brother Cartwright. Looking forward to a great talk show on the progress of Grand Bahama Island.
Yes.
We are being stagnant in too many ways, and we are losing our second city status. Why? Question mark. Are we 100% considering WTO status on Grand Bahama as a testing ground? It's always better in the Bahamas, but for whom?
But for whom?
Bahamians, please wake up and protect the Bahamas now. Selah from Grand Bahama, we are listening today.
Well, Grand Bahama, I really appreciate that text. It shows the people. Mr. Producer, we have a caller? Caller on the line. Let's take this call because I don't want to keep the callers waiting. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good day, Mr. Professor.
Hey, how are you?
All is well. Hey, Tricky.
Yeah, bro.
Mr. Cartwright, I like what I hear today. But that's my thing, right? That hotel. This ain't the first time we've been talking about the sale of this hotel and the value or the importance of leading up the airport. That has always been the conversation when we've had the failed sale for the hotel because there's always the issue with the airport. And so for the PLP to come back again and sell a hotel knowing that the airport is a critical component to the progress of the hotel, that means, like you say, that still didn't make no sense. And then we still didn't get confirmation on if the money from the sale of the hotel hit the account.
Yes, that's correct.
But
then
bro, I'll say this. I understand with the hotel, right? But here's the thing that really, really upsets me. As a government, your first priority is to your Bahamian citizens.
Yes.
If you don't care that much about the citizens and you trying to worry about an investor or an airport, what about your average citizen who needs to use that airport more than your investors get?
Yes, that is
so
correct.
that tells me, as a citizen, you don't even prioritize my needs.
That's correct.
As a citizen, but you worried about an investor. You should have basically looked at your citizenry first and said, okay, I'm going to do this for my citizens first.
Yes.
And as we do this, we're going to make sure I have things in place that the investor can see that we're doing it as a whole.
That's right.
So now the investors is questioning when you going to put this
when
hotel
you can get the
hotel.
Because that's a security breach. Because right now you're saying that now our air transportation is critical, is underutilized. And so if there's an emergency where you have to airlift Grand Bahamians out of Grand Bahama, you now have a crisis.
You do.
Now, what I say to Grand Bahamians, because let's leave the government alone.
Yes.
We talk about 5 seats in Grand Bahama, PLP, FNM, just had a by-election, going back to the PLP. Okay. The Constitution, this is where I have to continue to applaud Mr. Thompson on the fact that to push the knowledge of the Constitution at the end of the day, based on the stagnation or even the fact that Grand Bahama ain't doing nothing constitutionally to get themselves in a better position to get the help that they need from the government. Because they're complaining about governments after governments representation in the House, both who's government and opposition, and them two can't seem to get a buyer for a hotel, for an airport, or find the monies. They spending $80 million to fly. How much it is to get the airport together? So you telling me you're in a fix your faucet or your pipe with you boys, you rather go to the club?
I keep telling Bahamians, and I said it to those in the former administration, airports, seaports are part of your infrastructure, and also it's a part of your what you call natural resources, because this is a form to make money.
That's right.
You cannot outsource your airports or your seaports to private entities. It makes no sense, because once you do that, I agree, but I'm saying, but once you go down that road, you have no say what comes into your country.
Right.
And then, as you can see further down the road, you can also anticipate higher criminal elements, higher crime, that is basically will be the detriment of your country.
Yes.
And so, certain areas you cannot have outsourced. And this is something that I always tell people, that it doesn't matter which political machinery, but the parliament as a whole got to now take their head out of their party colors butt and say, hold on, I'm a Bahamian. My people suffering. If we sell this or get rid of this, we done ready to get rid of just about everything that we can now manage. The only thing we got left is our docks and our airports. And if we get rid of that, it's cheaper.
But they know this.
We should leave the country and go somewhere else.
Yes.
Ain't like they ain't see him spending the money. See, that's the thing, Mr. Cartwright. As a young man who have to be responsible with paying with him and his wife paying their bills and being able to survive at the end of the day, affected by whatever go up. Ain't like we have some type of source of money going free. When the cost of living go up, we have to find ways to make more money. You're talking about working for yourself.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, and I even talking about those who have a salary that's fixed. We talking about who ain't even on a livable wage.
Yes.
At minimum wage, we already know that anyone on minimum wage living on their own trying to rent and take care of themselves, they struggling. We know this.
Yes.
We know this. But the governments come in every day and they spend this money. And this is why I say we have to also hold our government workers accountable, because they know the government officials come and spend this money, and they're the same ones who on the trips. They're the same ones taking the government vehicle home, going to the gas station and filling it up on the treasury bill. They're the same ones who crashing the vehicles when we don't even know they're in a new vehicle. Okay? Come on, they're using government money to do all type of things, change out these fleets and the electric cars, giving it to a private company to make money. But at the end of the day, the airport ain't getting fixed.
Yes.
Our priority is as a government, not even the people, because I tired beating upon them. It's the government, but how do we get the people to gain the power to do another majority rule movement? Then they have to take to the streets, whether it's in Freeport, Grand Bahama, whether it's in New Providence, to just send a message of peace, but to say we now understand that we could do better, because there are people outside the government who's making it happen, but we're allowing these persons to continue to abuse our systems, our treasury, and then come to our media and tell us that everything's cool, as if we don't hear the rumors when they leave those places, as if we don't even go and check the information.
Yes.
So
Well,
that's my 2 cents.
Caller, thank you. Thank you for your contribution, Brother Cartwright.
Yeah.
Yes. What I've now noticed, now that I've been part of your show and observing more from Parliament and the country.
Yes.
And in my observation, what I realize is that our people, Bahamians, organic Bahamians, because we've been a group of passive people, we tend to now become too relaxed, whereby that when things affect us, we would rather sit on the blocks or in our little pockets or corners and say, boy, things rough, the government ain't doing this. But when you say, let's organize ourselves and protest and show them,
yes,
we ain't taking this no more.
That's right.
When you step out on the street and you look behind you, it's like, where's the crowd?
Where's the crowd? Where are the people?
But as soon as you get something accomplished, all of a sudden it's like junking. Oh boy, I was there when Professor, I was alongside Professor, be champion the cause.
Yes.
But when you ask them to step forward,
Yes.
And you know, I've had people say to me, say, "But you all wasting your time trying to get things done for these people," say, because they ain't appreciate it. But I always say to them, it ain't about me. It's about the country.
Yes.
And if all they need is one voice.
I think, Mr. Producer, we have another tape, or you have the
clip.
Oh, the clip. Okay.
Okay.
All right. He's gonna play. I think this one is from the Prime Minister this time. We haven't even finished with this voice one. But
Yeah.
anyhow, let's hear that one from the Prime Minister.
And rightly so. At the heart of this redevelopment is an integrated resort village that will create jobs, restore confidence, and give Grand Bahama the momentum it deserves. That means 3 new hotel buildings, a full-scale cruise resort, a revitalized 25,000 square foot casino, a Greg Norman designed golf course, over-the-water cabanas, beach clubs, family attractions, water parks, retail spaces, restaurants, music venues, and a 16-slip mega yacht marina. This is no small undertaking. This is an investment of $827 million and perhaps much more. The kind of scale that has the power to shift the local economy, create opportunity at every level, and change lives for the better. More than 1,300 jobs will be created during the construction, and about 1,750 permanent jobs when the development is fully up and running.
Brother Cartwright, what is this man talking about?
I would be happy if they would at least start one of these projects what they are talking about, because if nothing is happening, and he's talking as if, well, if they don't do it now, they'll do it later, and I'm going to be here. You got to understand, Mr. Prime Minister, that those people in Grand Bahama had built their hopes on what you said to them 76 days ago.
That's right.
They built everything around what you said to them. And now, 76 days later, nothing is seemed to be moving with the hotel. How you think those people are going to react if that hotel doesn't see nothing? No. See, also, there's a thing I've noticed in this country. We have this thing I noticed called groundbreaking.
Oh, yes. Oh, we love that.
We could put shovel in the ground every day, and that's as far as we get. Shovel in the ground.
And it stops right there.
That stops right there. No foundation, no nothing. Mr. PM, you need to take this job very serious right now. You know, I keep telling people, I said, members of parliament, the one thing that you will look at in the Bahamian public looks at the end of the day, is a legacy. See, we will remember who the former prime minister and the present prime minister. But those other rest sitting in parliament, Bahamians will not remember me, because the first thing is people say, but what did he do? What did she accomplish? So you become an afterthought. And you wonder why that as time go by, when you retire or move off the scene or the parliament, people walk past you like you a glass window.
Yes.
And you was like, don't you know who I am? No. Who are you? What have you done? I keep saying to them, I told a friend of mine yesterday in Parliament, I said, would it be nice to know that every member of Parliament and the Senate tabled one bill in the 5 years sitting in Parliament that benefits the Bahamian people?
Yes.
Just one bill.
Just one.
I don't want you to hit your head with plenty things, just one bill. He said, man, you put a plenty pressure on us. I said, no, I'm only asking.
Brother Cartwright, I
Yes.
got to stop because
I think you got to call
on
on.
the
Yes.
line. Yeah, we got to move them as soon as they come in. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please. Call it and gone? Okay, all right, okay. Yeah, go ahead, Brother Cartwright.
What I always try to tell people is this: instead of us going around, and I say this in a nice way.
Yes.
Hold on, I think you got a caller.
Let's see what the producer is saying. The call is when you call and just hold. You know, we want to get to you quickly, but you hung up so quickly. And it's
Go ahead, caller.
for us to do that.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Yes.
I just want to chime in on the conversation and the clip that was played by the by the Prime Minister. Um, I, I, I have a, I mean, I don't know if our people don't wake up. And I have a problem. Why is it that we, over the 52 years, all they talk about is jobs? Because right now, to me, job is crime. Why we can't move from jobs?
from workers
Which
to
in my humble opinion,
yeah.
which in my humble opinion is slavery to ownership.
Yes.
Um, why can't we have a government that has a vision that wants to shift the paradigm from a service oriented country to an ownership oriented country where they facilitate the opportunity for each citizen to partner and really you become the owners and shakers in this economic part. So that we could so that we could shape our own destiny.
Yes.
Rather than waiting on a foreigner or waiting on waiting on investors to come to invest in our family island.
You know, caller, I would say this. I spoke as you must be read my mind because this is exactly what I said to a friend of mine who was an MP. And I said, listen, you guys dropped the ball badly. I said, you know why? I said, since Linden, who was the mastermind and that parliament of that era, created a middle class. And I said, you know why? Because when you looked around all the Caribbean countries at that time with what called independence, especially the British colonies, they didn't create a middle class. They only had rich and poor.
Yes.
And so when he created that middle class, it was wonder work for us because what it did was an easy way to climb your way out of poverty.
Yes.
Because what it took was that ultimately, it's like building a step. To get to the next floor, you need stairs.
That's right.
And I said, what he did was that in that first 25 years, so Lyndon created that middle class, which also now became whereby that as that middle class started to grow, some of those middle class became millionaires.
That's right.
And so some of those millionaires created businesses. You
right.
remember the old group back then, but they started out Sunshine Boys.
Yes.
If you look around, I don't know how old you are, but I don't know if you remember when you used to walk into the Bahamian food stores, you would see most of the vegetable products was basically canned by Bahamians. It's a good economy. And when you look at everything, and so
well, etc.
Yes.
I'm 51.
Okay.
So I am that last generation that know about that know about this independence.
Yes.
And,
I'm one of them myself.
After our generation, if younger crew don't know what it is.
No, and it's so sad. I said to my friend, I said, listen, whether you like it or not, I said, I'm going to be frank with you. Every prime minister since Lyndon, we've saw the shrinkage of our middle class.
Yes.
I said,
we actually have not progressed as a country.
No.
In my humble opinion, we have declined. Right now, you are talking about the middle class. Right now, today, in reality, we are going right back to when I was a little boy. Either you rich or either you poor. Because right now the government is taxing everything but excuse my phraseology, their ma and their pa. Persons who own a house. Persons like myself who pay mortgage. I mean, I have to deal with real property tax. I have to deal with homeowners insurance. I have to maintain a life insurance. And basically, when I looked at looking at is that even though you might pay off your mortgage, you basically don't own your house because you still paying real property tax.
Yes.
Yes. You know something, bro?
Caller, thank you for your contribution. I appreciate that.
You know,
Go ahead, Brother Carter.
Professor, when you think about it, think about this now. Back in the 1920s, we were supplying the world with pineapples.
Yes.
The great British it wasn't prime minister at the time, it was a businessman, Neville Chamberlain, took one of the pineapples suckers from Eleuthera, gave it to a friend of his who was an American who was moving to Hawaii to farm. He turned around and started to plant pineapples in Hawaii. It ended up killing the Bahamian industry for pineapples.
Okay.
And so we are now knowing that for a lot of things we can basically do here. But the problem we've had is that we have not been able to sustain it. Right now, the government has just been sold 130 acres in Andres for $18 million for a company called Blue Hole Farms to do farming for eggs. I was like, why couldn't take a third of that money and you incentivize local farmers in Andres?
Exactly.
And then you could go get them started, then you move to another island and take some money and invest and subsidize them.
Of course.
Just do another project, whether like okra, onions, tomatoes, all of those things you are now, because what I'm looking at, you're subsidizing crown land and you're selling it to, we don't know whether it's a local or it's foreigner. That's 130 acres.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of land. You've got people in this country who owns 50, 60, 70, even 100 or more acres. Why not subsidize them, incentivize them?
But Cartwright, we're going to a break. I really want to get my comments in on this too, but you're doing quite well. This is Professor Sidney McGarter, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. My special guest today is Brother Cartwright, and he's right on target with everything that he's saying. So, Bahamians, you got to listen carefully. Now, there's some things I have to say to you that we must do to save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I'm going to get that to you later in the show. This is Professor Sidney McGarter, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. Express yourself, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
Express 271 or 3260272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. My producer told me I only have 30 more minutes, and I got to pack in some information. I'm going to let Brother Cartwright finish his point, and then I'll take over from there. Go ahead, Brother Cartwright.
Yes, one of the major problems we do see in this country is home ownership and Bahamian being stakeholders. Meaning, let's say, for instance, the hotels. We have a lot of people in our country working in the hotel industry.
Yes.
But I always look at the hotel unions. Now, people say, well, Mr. Ingham didn't want to own them hotel. It's good. Mr. Ingham is not the prime minister no more. But as a hotel union, you should have looked at some properties around this country that can be for a hotel or for Airbnb.
Yes.
And you petition the government to allow you to buy that land, and your membership can own that land. And like the caller was saying earlier, become stakeholders.
Stakeholders, yes.
They have something to now invest in that is theirs. And you could do that with all different types of entities. One of my greatest pet peeves, and I've been trying to tell people this, we have a lot of Bahamians who go into the fishing industry. We have a lot of Bahamians who are farmers. Why not create some form of a credit union bank whereby that those in that field, the fisherman's bank where only fishermen qualified to go and put their money up and use it as collateral.
Exactly.
And stuff. I said, this is how you're going to now create new entities, new wealth. You're going to create new stakeholders with money. You don't want the same set of people
making all the money.
You're recycling the same. You want, and I always tell people this, that it is imperative that every government, once you get elected, you should at least create it in your 5-year period a minimum of 20 new millionaires.
Oh yeah, I could work with that.
You can imagine a minimum of 20. Every 5 in that 5 years, you have created. So when you multiply that 20, that's 100 millionaires. You
in 5 years.
And over your 10 or 5 years.
Yes, that's right.
And then think about this. Since Linden, we would have now had like so many millionaires that we could now, instead of relying on foreign investment, we could now rely on local investment.
Local investment, yes.
To move our economy. Because right now, the Bahamas economy, it is in the hands of non-Bahamians.
Non-Bahamians, that's correct.
And if that was to crash, we would be in very, very dire problems.
Yes. Brother Cartwright, I have to agree with you and Bahamians. I am so delighted to have him here. He has such a powerful perspective. Bahamians, y'all got to learn to listen, That's why we have these shows on the Global Radio Network. See, I played those two pieces of information, one from the Prime Minister and one from the Chamber of Commerce in Grand Bahama. 76 days down the road. You see what is happening in Grand Bahama? Bahamians, you have to watch what your leaders are doing. Listen to what they say and watch what they do. It's going to take an organized movement of Bahamians who are interested in their country. You have to stop giving power to people who don't care about you. Do you understand how serious that is? You got to watch these business fellas, man, who say they're good business people. Let's look at the track record. Don't forget the big squabble between the Chamber of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce and the government, That ain't settled yet. And the man said they owed him hundreds of millions of dollars. And yet the man was there singing and dancing the praises of this new administration. Call it the New Day administration. Say it's a new day. And a renaissance and a resurrection. All these terminologies the man used. And the people right there carrying on. Bahamians, you've got to stop allowing people to deceive and mislead you. And let me give you a warning. This upcoming election is going to be extremely serious. It's either going to make or break the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Now, we still have time. We got 5 more months in this year. That's right. This is the last day of July, you know. Some people may not even be aware of that. 7 months would have passed, Bahamians. 7 signifies completion. 7 is a complete number. So we got 5 more months to get our house in order as we move into 2026. Bahamians, we got to stop wasting time. You've been sitting down, as Brother Cartwright said, you get to relax. And you just let things happen, Bahamians. You've got to understand these business people who are in charge, doing things, members of the government, members of the Senate, persons you gave authority to, man, who you trusted, you rely on, you depend on them to make sound decisions and good judgments. Bahamians, I encourage you to please trust God. You need to give God a chance this time now. Stop giving these other people who have been lying and misleading and deceiving you for the last 52 years. Give God a chance. Over the next 5 months and going into 2026, let's give God a chance. Because God says, Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Do you see any rejoicing around here? Do you see any righteous people running things in business and in the economy of this country? Where are they? Do you want that? Yes or no? Famous, we can't keep going like this. We're going down, 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 down. We got to pull this place up, Bahamians. We can't keep letting people tell us a bunch of crap 76 days ago. And 76 days later, you ain't seen nothing happen. What kind of foolishness is this? You've got to get over it, Bahamians. You've got to learn to trust God. You haven't done that yet. Where is God in our politics? Where is God in our administration? Where is God in our business lives? Where's God in our family lives? Where's God in our personal lives? God has a special interest in the Bahamas. And he got to knock out some people because they head hard like rock. Because he wants to do something for the Bahamian people. But we got to listen to the man. When he gives you clear-cut instructions, you have to follow it, Bahamians. Do not take when God tells you something, take that for granted or take it lightly. And then you go after them wicked fellas who telling you a bunch of crap for 52 years. And you see by the hardcore evidence, nothing is happening for you. Absolutely nothing. Now this time, you can have all kinds of strange relationships among certain families, among certain persons. Payments has already started. It's already started. Don't forget the University of North Florida is open, you know. They opened it up a couple of days ago. You're going to see some things that were happening before. Some people are going to come out of those dark, dark areas, dress themselves up, and you're going to think that's a new person. That's the same old wolf in sheep's clothing who was there before. Nothing has changed, Amy. You got to look at what's happening to you. And what disturbs me is the fact that you keep letting people take advantage of you. Now I'm going to be working overtime from today onward to get you to understand the importance of your Holy Bible, that's one, and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Because Bahamians, if you really put your stake in the Holy Scriptures and in the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, you'll always be right. You'll never go wrong. No one will be able to deceive and mislead you. Because God tells you plainly, you're going to have a bunch of deceitful, wicked, carnal-minded people who are interested in their own personal advancement. Not you. And when the money is sharing around, ain't no money coming for you. They can share that money right in that tight circle. and you get nothing. You want some chicken? You throw one box of chicken at you. One small box, too. Is that what you want? You want some rum? You want some shirts? There's no money in it now. They used to tell me they used to put a couple of dollars in shirts. I don't know if they do that anymore. Because they got you deceived, Bahamians. How could you fall for this kind of crap? 52 consecutive years, man. And that's why I asked the question about your constituencies. What major constituency problems have been solved over the last 52 years? You live in these constituencies. What major national problems have been solved by the government of Bahamas over these last 52 years, Bahamians? You gave them the power. You gave two political parties massive landslide of seats, massive amounts of power. Every single problem in this country should have been solved. One party has been there 70 consecutive years next year. From the time they went in, they always had seats in the Senate, always have seats in the House of Assembly. Payments, I mean, what's going on? And plenty of you don't even watch what is happening over these many years. 70 years next year. The other party, 55 years next year. And they've been in and out, in and out, in and out. And we have spent billions, tens of billions of dollars over that span of time. I won't talk about other things that were going on because we're investigating some other things. Some things that were never reported to you and me. And that goes into the tens of billions of dollars. What has never been reported. Baby, you got to understand the seriousness of the times in which we live. Some people have been using us and taking advantage of us. We have to stop them. Baby, we can't run no country like this. The little fellow will never get the opportunity who's crying out to become, he wants to be an owner now. That's what the man said. You heard him say that on the show. I don't blame him. And I ain't sharing with no stranger. I'm not sharing with no foreigner. I don't want any friggin' foreigner. After 52 years, we still got a friggin' foreigner. Give me a break, man. We ought to own everything because the country belongs to the Bahamian people, not to the stranger, not to the foreigner, not to the alien, not to the outsider. I don't want no agreement with no stranger, no foreigner, no alien, no outsider. All this training we've been getting, 52 years of training, this school, that school, the next school. You mean to tell me we ain't come out of class yet? 52 years of classes, and we can't graduate? Something is wrong with that picture, Bahamians. We got to always have a stranger, a foreigner, an alien, an outsider. We got to tag on to them. I ain't tagging on to none because they don't belong here, Bahamians. You've got to put righteous people in charge in your nation. As God says, if you're going to rejoice, you need righteous people. Which means, Bahamians, you got to look hard. Gold is not on top of the ground. You know, you got to do some digging to get that gold. All kinds of things in there. Bahamians, it's worthwhile listening to God. Now, let me ask you something here. Are these current leaders prepared to sacrifice their lives for the constituents they represent? You ask them that. Which one of them is doing that today, from the Prime Minister right on down? Which one of them is prepared to sacrifice his life for the nation, for the constituents? Because you see, that's what Jesus did. He gave up everything so that you and I can live with him and his Father. What have they given up? We've seen people reportedly over and over again pocketing money for themselves while the people get weaker and weaker and weaker. We don't even have no more middle class. The middle class was created under Lyndon Finley. all we end up having is very rich and very poor. That means we can't keep living like this. So I'm going to ask you to support shows on this radio station. There's some other things we got to do. I told you about the rallies. We got to cover those rallies because we want to get accurate information, Demand and tell the press, go do your own way. And that immigration director is going to be challenged on what he said. They're going to put him to the test. And the fellow who's head of the parliamentary registration. The Bahamians, when you hear them open their mouth, you make note of what they say, and then you have to challenge them. You got to say nothing against them. You deal with what they say. See, but the Prime Minister made those remarks some 76 days ago. What do you see happening now? The Chamber President made those remarks. Say it's a renaissance. It's a resurrection. All kind of glowing statements. What is happening now 76 days later in Grand Bahama? Bahamians, you've got to get serious. And the other family islands, you've got to get serious. We got all kind of strangers and foreigners and aliens and outsiders. And I'll keep telling you, Article 24.1 of your Constitution, how you need to be organized on the ground where you are. That's how you start, Bahamians. How you think I got to know plenty of people? I started right in Fort Castle. Now, some people up there, they have their way about things, but I got to work with them. I can't disown them. Now, some things they may do I may not like. And it mightn't be in the best interest of the people of Fort Castle. We got to tell them about that. Just like people are doing things that are not in the best interest of the nation, and you keep your mouth shut. And you don't tell them, stop your foolishness, stop your nonsense, stop your crap. You just let it go on and on and on. And that's why we're in the predicament we're in 52 years later, Bahamians. I get very upset over that. Because there were many people who had high hopes in the people they sent to the House of Assembly, sent to the Senate, sent to the cabinet, hoping that things would change for them. Nothing has happened. And they pass off the scene. All kind of stress on people today. We're going with this foolishness, Bahamians. Stressed right out. This suicide thing. I'm still puzzled over that. Because I always thought Bahamians would never commit suicide. But they ain't telling us who these people are who are committing suicide. Are they strangers purporting to be Bahamians? Because no genuine Bahamian who goes to church on Saturday and Sunday talking about any suicide. Although I understand in one particular church where it happened. It did happen. And I got that from reliable sources. So I am saying to you, those of you who believe in God and who trust in God and rely on God, we got to bring God into our thoughts, Bahamians. Into this election, we got to ask God to guide our thoughts to pick and choose the right person. You can't make that mistake again. You electing people who are not Bahamians. The man doesn't tell you he's one of them. I can probably pay that tape tomorrow. And you didn't pay any attention to it. But you allow him to get rid of the crap. Huh? You sat right there, as Brother Cartwright say, to relax. Maybe we got to wake up before we don't have a country. You can wait till we get like Sudan and be at the point of no return, or like the Gaza Strip. Even the man say he's tired of talking to Putin in Russia. And the man keep on in the place, Happened overnight again. Just bombing, destroying people, man. Breaking up the place. And then the man say he can put sanctions on it. I don't know what the sanctions will do, but I know people are dying in Ukraine. We don't want to be living like that, Bahamians. Then they talk about putting underground bunkers for the people in Israel. They can't even live above ground anymore. I mean, what are we coming to, Bahamians? And we already have an invasion of people in this country. You got to stop this foolishness. So I'm going to ask you to send me that email. And I'm going to give you my email, the state of the nation 242@gmail.com. Let me take it a little slower. The state of the nation 242@gmail.com. Bahamians, you got to get serious. Because we have to save the Commonwealth. You say you love Professor Thompson. That's good. I don't mind that. But now you got to do something, Bahamians. You can't sit and stay in that do-nothing position. Because some things we have to do to save this country. You cannot depend on the people you've already sent there. The evidence is right in front of your face. All we got is problems. Multitudes of problems. And immigration and citizenship is at the top of the list. And Bahamians, we have too many. See, the government doesn't even know how many strangers we have in here. We got people coming in left, right, and center from all over the world. All the way from Nigeria. I mean, where we going with these people? And they settle in here, say they want to be Bahamian. Say they're blind to be Bahamian. And there's no pathway in our Constitution for them to become Bahamians. Impossible. But some people think they got one funny thing called the Bahamas Nationality Act, and they can use this piece of crap to say they're going to make them citizens. The government of Bahamas is complicit with this foolishness. And enough of you, in my view, have not yet waken up to that fact. But I can wake on it, Bahamians. Because we have got to save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas for ourselves, our children, all those children in my family. Now they could eat you. They like eat. They ain't no suicidal people. I can tell you that right off the top. So we got to make sure I keep feeding them. We got to have the money to feed them. They'll eat you out of house and land. But that's all right. We can keep them alive and well because we want others to grow and have their place in this society. Then we're losing too many young. And every time I hear a young man die, it feels like one of my sons dead. I don't like that. But then we got to save them. We got to talk sense to them. We got to let them know our history. We got to let them know about the Constitution. But Cartwright, let me let you make your last point before we get off there.
Yes, like I said, Professor, I would hope during this season, which is our hurricane season, that Bahamians would now look inwardly towards themselves and make some sound decisions.
We have to.
Who they gonna send to represent them.
Praise the Lord.
You know, and like you said again, they have to ask God to guide them.
Please, Bahamian.
Yeah.
Please.
Make the right choice, because if you don't, we basically would be people of basically now migrating somewhere else.
Exactly.
And I have no intention of leaving this beautiful place.
I'm not here to leave it either. So we got to trust God, Bahamians. And I can be working hard on this. We got 5 more months. 7 is a complete number. This is July. The last day of July is the day. Tomorrow is August 1. Bahamians, 5 years. You got 5 fingers on one hand, 5 fingers on the other hand. Bahamians, we got to do this thing right, Bahamians. So I'm asking you to support me, because I ain't letting you all get up off that. Because we need to get some things done to save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I'm going into overdrive starting today. This is the last day of July, and Bahamians, we've got to save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So please send me that email and put your phone numbers on the email. The email to be sent to the State of the Nation, the State of the Nation 242@gmail.com. And I will answer you. Bahamians, we've got to get busy because there are plenty of things that need to be done. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Net. Now, tomorrow is Open Line Friday. You can talk anything you all want to talk tomorrow. But don't forget what I told you now, because I can remind you again tomorrow. We've got to save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You cannot depend on the government of the Bahamas. that is here now, you can't depend on them. Their actions prove that you can't depend on them. So you have to do something about it, Bahamians. You can't just go to sleep. I got to stop now because the music is playing. This is Professor Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Have a pleasant afternoon.
All you got to do